Hello, all. It's Vanessa Valjean, and today we are speaking about a topic close to my heart. At the same time, it equally rubs me the wrong way. We are speaking about getting rid of bloody guilt and shame. All right. One of my song lyrics, the song's coming out soon. It's called "You Don't Listen." Is guilt and shame is the way I feel when you're not around. So yeah, that that sums up a lot for me. Guilt and shame, and how the absence of someone or something that I have lost because of guilt or shame grieves me. How it grieves me. How it self perpetuates. How shame makes me hide, makes me run away because I feel rejected, I feel alone, or I don't feel good enough. And gosh, shame has been such a huge major area for me, and I'd say I'm on a spiritual journey right now, ridding myself of it. Like, because shame kills, shame destroys families, shame kills, shame robs you of your autonomy, it robs you of your life. It's insidious. It has you feeling like you're the only one going through what you're going through. So you keep it to yourself and you live from that place forever and ever. And you interact with the world through shame. You interact with other people through shame. And you cast rocks at other people because you feel so ashamed that you'd rather distract yourself with the external, with what this person's doing, with what this person's not doing, with what you should have done, with what you expect someone to do. And gosh, like, it's flipping. It's emotional joblessness. That's the best way I'm going to say it. Because instead of working on yourself through love and kindness and compassion, you are picking up a stone, going, I'm an idiot. I'm not good enough. I'm taking this to the grave. And I'm like, why are you taking shame and guilt to the grave with you? Why? Why are you letting your mistakes become a part of you? Why are you letting other people's projections, criticisms, unfulfilled expectation become yours? You need to be like, nah, my G, hold that, hold that, hold that. Mum, dad, uncle, auntie, Bob, Fred, someone may have cussed you out for doing that, but you're not going to do that to me. And even if you do, I want you to hold that shame because it's not mine to have. You keep that shame to yourself because shame is not a climate for health. It's not a climate for growth. It's not a climate for self improvement. Some of us think that guilt and shame, shaming people, canceling people is going to help the situation. No, it's not. It's only going to deepen the wound. It's only going to make situations worse. We think that if we tell people to shut up, if we cancel people because they don't agree with us, that the shame will teach them a lesson. No, shame robs. Shame is deadly. Shame is anti humanism. I'm going to speak about sex because sex and shame have been one and the same for me. Bars, 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 bars. Firstly, I want to start with the fact that I was sexually abused on multiple occasions from my childhood. And these are things that I couldn't articulate, blanked out, quite frankly, and came up in my behaviors. And I only noticed this when I went to university. I had different things go on and I didn't tell anyone about them because I feel like I didn't want to be a burden to my family. I felt like there was so much going on already and I always saw the good in people. So even the people that hurt me, I was just like, oh, like, it's fine. Like, I just ignored it and I carried on with life. But then it showed up in hypersexuality. You know, there's two responses when people have gone through sexual abuse. There's hypersexuality and then there's like, which is basically like having a lot of sex and becoming really like freaky and all that jazz. Um, and then there's also like the fear aspect, like you're really flipping scared of anyone who resembles your perpetrator. But for me, it was becoming promiscuous, even though I flipping hate that word because it's just such a stupid Victorian, judgmental, shame riddled word. But yeah, that was me. I felt as though I needed love, and my way of finding it would be letting someone to hold me and touch me, you know? Except for it was unrequited. Quite often people didn't want the same. They just wanted, to try out their pleasures, their desires, to let them free. Quite often by deception. Bun you for doing that. You should have been honest with me. Should have been honest with me. I wouldn't have slept with you if I knew you weren't gonna love me. But anyway, young and naive. Um, at the same time, I grew up in the church, and it's weird when I say the church because not every church is like this. Like I've spoken to people, and they're like, "Rah," like that wasn't my experience. And I've also spoken to people that I've never had any shame in the area of sex. Like I've realized how diverse people's experiences have been with sex. But as for me, purity culture literally fucked me. The irony. I was taught that you had to wait for marriage. You had to leave your one body untouched, perfect, virginal for your husband because this is God's plan, God's order. And gosh, like it sounded great because it was like there's something nice about using something that's new that's never been touched before. But it's such a flipping shame that we're comparing objects to human bodies. Because what the actual heck? Do you know what people think that women genuinely get looser if they've had sex? It's a lie, it's a myth, it's just purity culture propaganda. And guess what? For you people who believe in this shit, that you gotta stay pure and you gotta under this toxic thinking, there's other people who don't engage in sex before marriage for other reasons. Other people who are asexual who don't even want sex. We're on different journeys, but like for those of you who think that you're better than people or like you're gonna live a better life just because you followed a dogmatic teaching, I don't know for you. I don't know for you. I don't know for you. I went through so much depression and grief trying to abstain. Gosh, I'd feel guilty if I even just felt horny, if I wanted to masturbate. These things are normal. I feel guilty if I looked at a guy and thought, sweet one, come around my way. Like, it was just like this OCD that I had. And it was like I had to separate myself from my biology to be a good person, to be someone who was worthy of going to heaven. And I personally just think that's so toxic. And I think, again, this all perpetuates shame. It's like, so I'm hearing this. I'm young. I'm hearing that if I've had sexual contact with anyone before marriage, I'm broken. So already you give me shame, even though it wasn't my fault. And then I have to live with this. I have to walk around this. And I just keep on going because I'm like, God hates me already. Uh, you know, the deal's been done. No one's gonna want me. Here we go. And I think enantiodromia took place for me because when you have the reinforcement of one school of thought or one concept, so for example, no sex before marriage, and that's like hammered into you. According to Young, the inevitable consequence of having like really extreme conditioning means that the opposite will occur. So I went from no sex before marriage to and then to a lot of sex outside of marriage, and now like I'm engaged and everything, and I'm like, oh, I don't even want to get married, and it's not even because of who I'm with. It's just because of the shame. Like we're taught that if we haven't followed this order, we're done for. And gosh, what does that mean for us who've been plagued with perfectionism? Like shame, 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 shame. You're not a worthy human being. You're not worthy of love or support, even shelter. Yep, some people wouldn't let us stay with them because of our position because we're not married, even though we have a family. But anyway, apparently, my ability to stay perfect in an area is like a precedent for how I should be treated. I just think that's strange. I think it's wrong. And then even now, as I share these things, as I speak up about the issues, as I speak out about the fact that I'm not Christian, that I don't believe God is real, that I was unfairly treated by people who I love, unfairly treated, in many respects, even flipping horrible to myself, like shame, 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 guilt. People try to throw that shit at you. I remember some guy who went to First Love Church. Not everyone's like this from First Love, but we all have had stories about First Love. I met him once or twice, and he messaged me saying, "I'm disappointed in you." I was like, "Who are you? And how dare you try and put the shame that you hold onto me? That's yours to hold, my G. It's yours to hold." Because the truth of the matter is, you'd be way more effective in showing me that you love me and that you care about my soul by actually flipping loving me. I'll tell you this. When I was on my deconstruction journey, there were actually people, and even to this day, there are actually people who are people of faith who spur me towards love. And I'm like, oh, routed. I don't know if God is real or not, but I see that you're living by the lessons, that you're actually treating people with dignity and respect, that you're showing love, compassion, and kindness and understanding where other people are throwing stones like they're not doing up evil elsewhere or doing the same things that they condemn people for. Shame has to go. It's very, very practical what I'm saying here. We have to sit with ourselves and analyze, why and when do I feel shame? And question whether that's going to help you. If someone criticizes me, I'm like, please give me a sandwich, like a compliment sandwich. Like, tell me something good, tell me something bad, and tell me something else good. Because I understand the role that shame and feeling embarrassed and guilt can have, and the effect that it can, like the role that it can play and the effect that it can have on one's ability to grow. I was like, oh, I want to be sober, but I had a drink. Oh, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? You're ruining your life. Why is that a valid response? It's not effective. How about, oh my gosh, well done. That was amazing. That was really good. I'm so proud of you. That's what you did. We've got time. We can do this. What happened if we would speak to our inner child like that? What would happen if we spoke to our friend like that? Our parents like that? What if we nurtured those sides, those parts of ourselves that just feel so broken and ashamed? There's parts that now possess others and possess ourselves. Oh gosh, like we're passing on shame to our children, to our grandchildren, to our grandchildren's children. We're passing on shame to the person who's trans, to the person who's gay, to the person who has a different belief to us. Like we think that's gonna do anything. What's more potent is love. Shame and guilt is counterproductive to the functioning of humanity. Truth of the matter is, we're ever evolving. Things change, opinions change. Gosh, like, I'm sure cohabitation is the new black. I'm personally enjoying it. And it's ironic because I do want to get married, and that's not coming from a place of shame. It's coming from a place of rebellion, reclamation. I have my baby and I'm not ashamed. And those of you who want to shame people for not conforming to your belief system or what you think is wise, hold that shame. Hold it. Keep it. Look at it yourself and dispel of it. Treat yourself with love and understanding, because perhaps you'll treat other people with love and understanding. Thank you so much for watching. Shame and guilt is costly. Love is free. Please, 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 I'm telling you, strip yourself of shame and guilt and you will see the results.